Good morning. Good morning to those of you here and those of you watching us on YouTube. We're going to start this morning right off by singing Jingle Bells. So some of you may have found something that will jingle somewhere around your seat. Grab that if you can. If not, maybe you've got old-fashioned car keys that will jingle. And we're going to sing a chorus, one verse, and a chorus. Make a little noise. Okay, and start over again. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Back into the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, riding all the way. From Bobtail Ring, making spirits fly. What fun it is to ride and sing a playing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh.
All right, we got through that.
Silence your bells.
Good morning. My name is David Howell, and I'm the worship associate today with Ellen, who is going to do a fantastic job, I know, about the Unitarian meaning of Christmas. West Side is, of course, a welcoming place for all people of all sorts who wish to come here. Everyone is welcome, even though your individual beliefs may vary from person to person. There are a few announcements to make here, doing these in a chronological fashion. The first one is, please join us for coffee and conversation after the service today. A special drum circle begins at 12:30. All are welcome. Doing this chronologically, next Sunday, a holiday party, that's December 11th, after the service. Join us for decorating, wrapping, family promise gifts, singing music, and holiday treats. And Carol said to me, please announce that if you wish to bring a treat of some sort, I guess these count as non-alcoholic kinds of treats, but any kind of treat that you would like to bring, cookies, whatever, please bring it. We will celebrate by doing the tree and wrapping presents, singing music, and enjoying the treats that are available. After that, on December 12th, the second Monday lunch at the Chop House on Kingston Pike at Franklin Square. If you're planning to attend, please contact Judy Bridgette or Diane Gray to let them know that you are coming. More long-term matter during December. This regards VITA, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance for anyone who needs help with their income taxes. That will be available through trained people who are able to do this. And more long-term, Westside is doing a couple of service projects, holiday messages to inmates, which we started up at Pickett 3 weeks ago now, 4 weeks ago, a while ago, through an organization called Church of the Larger Fellowship. Those interested can write message. And for our family promise, families, we have one more child to find presents for. See Elizabeth Corbett with regard to that. I think that's all the immediate announcements to do, and Laurie Valaga has a announcement that she would like to make.
Hi, Squeak. When I was a kid, I was a Girl Scout, and I hated selling cookies because I didn't want to ask people for money. I got over that. So we have a legacy campaign going, as almost all of you know by now. We are trying to pay down the church mortgage, and we're doing great. We've got 2 more months. We're going to run the campaign, and until the mortgage is paid down, we're going to accept donations. So please help. November contributions were $13,100. Woo! Our total contributions, $46,678. That's incredible. That is just great. Our principal balance has gone from slightly over $82,000 down to $33,000, $33,200. So also great. We have saved permanently, paying $21,600 in interest. And our payoff date has gone from 2033, 11 years, to September of 2026. We are way down there, and we're way up there in all the right places. I'm going to leave the chart up today, and if you want to come up and see the penciling in that I have done, we'll also show you the benefits. If we get $5,000 more in December, $5,000 more in January, just to get you an idea of the projection on there. But overall, great job. I'm so pleased. Thank you.
Any other announcements from anyone? Then it is time to invite our bull to sing. Everybody relax, take a deep breath. Settle into your chair, settle into the group. It's amazing how breathing changes things, isn't it? And now Sandra will play our prelude. Carol will light the chalice. Ellen, I'm sorry, will light the chalice for us. I wondered what I might read while this was going on, and I checked with Ellen, and she said she had found something for us to do. And it reminded me that when Unitarianism and Universalism both began historically, the founders were quite clear that this was a new version of Christianity. We continue to change over the years, and things continue to change. And she found a really lovely passage for me to read here about Unitarians and Universalists at Christmas. They say a story can carry a truth far greater than the literal truth. We Unitarians know the value of stories. We know they carry truth. We know they carry more truths than just the plain truth ever can. Maybe we can't believe a virgin gave birth to the Son of God, but we can believe that all births are miracles, worthy of celebration and wonder. Maybe we can't believe angels brought revelations, but we can believe truth can be revealed through the actions and words of those who dare to speak it and to act it. Maybe we can't believe the angels sang to shepherds, but we can believe that those revelations about life can come to and through even those we think are the most humble. Maybe we can't believe the wise men traveled to see the newborn baby king, but we can believe that we should never be too lofty or think ourselves too clever or too rich to see the wonder and majesty in tiny things. Maybe we can't believe that Jesus brought back the light by redeeming our sins, but we can believe in a leader and teacher and prophet who brought and brings illumination to the lives of those who wish to listen. We can believe in the light, always. We can believe in the light. Maybe we can't believe the Christmas story, a Christmas story, but we can believe in it as a story which points to a truth greater than we can possibly imagine. And so we are here, Unitarians, Universalists at Christmas, celebrating, and long may we do so. It is time for our offering. Give as you are, willing and able.
Well, good morning again. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Ellen Greenwood. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And as a member of our worship committee here at Westside, it's my privilege to get to talk with you today. Westside, as well as I think many Unitarian Universalist churches, has a long tradition of frequent lay-led services.
But I do want to remind you that we have a very wonderful minister also, Reverend Carol Baudot, who's hanging out at the back. She's a backseat Unitarian today. But she will be speaking next Sunday, and she does so much more for us in addition to leading services. So if you don't know Reverend Carol, I hope you get to know her too. And I want to say a special thank you to Sandra for the music today. As you will see as the service goes on, it will be revealed to you that there are reasons for this strange variety of Christmas songs that we're using today. So, for some years now, we've been hearing that there's a war on Christmas, that the celebration of Christ's birth is under attack from secular humanists, liberal Christians, and others, including, of course, Unitarian Universalists. We hear that saying Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas, honoring other midwinter holidays, making public school holiday parties inclusive, even portraying the Christ child and the Holy Family as anything other than white, we hear that all these are attacks on the holiest of Christian holidays. And while many of us doubt that this so-called war on Christmas is anything more than a fantasy of Fox News and its minions, it seems worth noting that objections to Christmas are nothing new. And in fact, I know this from personal experience. My father, who, as many of you probably know, was a Southern Baptist minister, loved Christmas, the whole package. He loved the Nativity, which, of course, he held very sacred. But he loved all the secular trimmings, the Christmas tree, the lights, Santa Claus, the gifts, all of it. And I was told that his passion stemmed from the fact that his mother, who died when he was 10, was a Jehovah's Witness and did not allow her children to celebrate with a Christmas tree and Santa and all the works. So he wanted to give his kid the holiday that he never had. And in fact, if there is a war on Christmas, it must be the longest war ever fought. Historically, there seems to be something about Christmas that provokes controversy. Throughout the medieval period, Christmas Day in Great Britain was marked by special church services, but also magnificent feasts accompanied by heavy drinking. Over the years, Christmas became a time of revelry and misrule, when many Christmas carols were drinking songs, and carolers from the lower social classes invaded the homes of the wealthy to demand food and drink in exchange for goodwill. Think of the old traditional, we wish you a Merry Christmas, with the lines about, bring us some figgy pudding and bring it right here. By the early 1600s, the Puritans and other Protestant groups, seeing more revelry than religion in all of these customs, began to object. Presbyterians in Scotland outlawed Christmas in 1640, a legal ban that remained in place until 1712. Also in 1640, during the reign of Oliver Cromwell, the Puritans in the English Parliament succeeded in banning the celebration of Christmas and other saints' days. That ban was widely protested and possibly not very well enforced, but the celebration of Christmas remained controversial for the next 200 years. While the English would continue to celebrate Christmas with the pagan practices of lighting a Yule log and decorating their homes with holly and ivy and mistletoe, it would not be until the 19th century that the traditional English holiday became commonplace, and much of that is thanks to a Unitarian. Likewise, back here on this side of the pond, in New England, Colonial Puritans also objected to Christmas. Possibly, the Puritans objected to anything resembling fun. In 1659, they persuaded the Massachusetts Congress to declare any celebration on December 25th a punishable offense. They believed that Christmas was not biblical and that Jesus would not have approved of any birthday celebrations. And while that law was rescinded in 1861, it would not be until 1856, it was rescinded in 1681, it would not be until 1856 that Christmas would become a public holiday in Massachusetts. And Christmas Day did not become a federal holiday in the United States until 1870. Now, at this point, I need to interject in all of this mass of dates and so forth I've been throwing out there like I knew what I was talking about. I am neither a historian nor a theologian, but I do enjoy wandering around on the internet. And in my wanderings, I have discovered that, in fact, we owe many of the Christmas celebrations we enjoy today to the efforts of Unitarians and Universalists. Obviously, someone needed to save us from the dismal piety of the Puritans, and who better to do this than the Unitarians, descendants of the Puritans, who were rising to prominence in New England, and their good friends, the Universalists. According to the Reverend Teresa Novak, the Universalist community in Boston held a special Christmas Day service on 1789, with strong disapproval from the surrounding conservative clergy. New England Unitarians began promoting Christmas in the early 1800s, not for reasons having much to do, really, with the birth of the baby Jesus, but rather they supported holding religious services on December 25th, urging businesses to close, to allow employees to spend time at home with their loved ones, encouraging traditions that brought families together for domesticity, which evidently was a hot trend of the time. Christmas, the Unitarians believed, could be a holiday to promote their values and our values of generosity and charity and social good, and they thought it would be a wonderful way to build these values, particularly in children. And they also had no problem with weaving in a few pagan customs as they went along. Dutch and German immigrants to the United States brought the custom of the Christmas tree with them. In 1832, the Reverend Charles Follen, a Unitarian minister and a professor at Harvard College, remembering the German Christmases of his youth, wanted to recreate some of that joyful experience for his children. He cut a small tree and decorated it with candles and other ornaments. The British author and Unitarian Harriet Martineau visited the Follens that Christmas, and she was charmed by the tree and the family celebration. Her published account of the evening declared the event to be America's introduction to the Christmas tree, and she predicted the future popularity of the custom. And here's what she wrote. I was present at the introduction into the new country of the spectacle of the German Christmas tree. The children poured in, but in a moment every voice was hushed. Their faces were upturned to the blaze, all eyes wide open, all lips parted, all steps arrested. I have little doubt that the Christmas tree will become one of the most flourishing exotics of New England. So maybe we have Christmas trees thanks to a Unitarian minister. In 1842, British author Charles Dickens visited the United States. He chronicled his deep disillusionment with the new country, especially our institution of slavery. However, he had nothing but praise for his visit to Boston, where he met Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry Ellery Channing, leading figures of American Unitarianism. On returning home to London, Dickens began attending a Unitarian chapel. "Disgusted with our established church," he wrote in a letter, "I have carried into effect an old idea of mine and joined the Unitarians, who would do something for human improvement if they could, and who practice charity and toleration." In 1843, shortly after his return to Great Britain, Dickens published A Christmas Carol, the story that we all know, I think, of Ebenezer Scrooge, that has done so much to change the celebration of Christmas into the holiday we think of as traditional today. He wrote the novella as social commentary, a simplistic allegory for the effects of wealth and inequality, and then he wrapped it up in a Christmas ghost story. It became an instant bestseller and has remained popular ever since. In A Christmas Carol, without once mentioning Jesus, Dickens showed that it was possible to experience a conversion, not necessarily based on any religious experience, but a personal change of heart that would lead one to help others. For Dickens, that was the true meaning of Christmas. As Scrooge's nephew says, "Christmas is the only time I know of in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers." Dickens' vision of Christmas as a celebration of family connections and social responsibility must have resonated with his American Unitarian friends. I'm reminded especially of the opening scenes of Little Women, who is written by a Unitarian, Louisa May Alcott, and it was published in 1868. As those of you who have read the book or seen any of the movie versions may remember, the story begins as the March girls prepare to celebrate Christmas without presents and in near poverty, but their mother, dear Marmee, insists that her girls go trudging out into the snow on Christmas morning to deliver their Christmas breakfast to a family who is much less fortunate, living in dire poverty and suffering serious illness. The immediate and continued influence of A Christmas Carol would have been enough to secure our Unitarian place in the history of holiday customs. But our story doesn't stop there. Let's take a break and sing from our hymnal, number 244, "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear," as we continue our story. Well, as you probably have realized, and as I said earlier, our music today reflects ways that Unitarians have contributed to our Christmas holidays. We began by singing Jingle Bells, possibly the most overused holiday tune ever. There are some differences of opinion about the creation of Jingle Bells, but it definitely was written by James Pierpont sometime in the 1850s, and Pierpont's father and brother were both Unitarian ministers. One account says that it was written for a Thanksgiving celebration while Pierpont served as choir director at his brother's Unitarian church in Savannah, Georgia. Another account says it was written in a bar. I don't know. To be completely honest, it's also important to point out that Pierpont was considered the black sheep of the family. Although his father and brother were both outspoken abolitionists, Pierpont served in the Confederate Army and wrote tunes for the Confederacy. So our history has its darker moments and always doesn't follow a perfect path as we might want it to. Our other two carols have much different backstories. It Came Upon a Midnight Clear was written by Unitarian minister Edmund Sears in 1849. A pacifist and an abolitionist, Sears was deeply troubled by the United States' involvement in the Mexican War and in his country's continued reliance on slavery. Sears's lyrics, even as they've been updated somewhat by the editors of our hymnal, seem a bit stilted and antiquated to our modern ears. But I think we can see his disillusionment and his anguish, especially in that third verse. And then in that last verse, his carol calls, and I think it does repeatedly actually, for peace in times of war and human conflict. And those times are not that different, sadly, from our own. Our prelude this morning was I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, the lyrics of which were written by Unitarian poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow in 1864. Longfellow wrote the poem, Christmas Bells, as an expression of grief in the midst of tragedy. His second wife had died in a fire 2 years earlier. His eldest son, who enlisted in the Union Army against his father's wishes, had been severely wounded in battle. And the country continued to be embroiled in the Civil War. The third verse describes Longfellow's despondency. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. The last two verses, while a little more godly than some of us contemporary UUs might appreciate, celebrate the resilience of people much like us 21st century UUs, who endure and find ways to hope for a day of peace on earth. Then peal the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. And the list goes on. There are others we could name. Today, historians credit both Dickens, A Christmas Carol, and 'Twas the Night Before Christmas by Clement Moore for making our holiday what it is today. I found a few internet sources claiming that Moore was actually a Unitarian, but most reliable sources seem to indicate that he was an Anglican. In fact, one reference pointed out that he was a slave owner and a supporter of slavery, and as such would not have fit in well with 19th century Unitarians. However, it was cartoonist Thomas Nast, definitely a Unitarian, who illustrated Night Before Christmas and gave us our most enduring image of Santa Claus. And so these are some of the ways that Unitarians and Universalists have helped to save Christmas. We celebrate it as a time of wonder and joy for all. We remind each other to nurture our families and our friends, to stand with those less fortunate and less privileged than ourselves. We write holiday notes to prison inmates. We provide gifts for children experiencing homelessness. We respect those who celebrate all the holy days of the season by saying Happy Holidays, as well as Merry Christmas. We celebrate our hopes for the just and compassionate world that Jesus called us to create, worrying less about his deity and more about who we are and how we treat each other. To paraphrase the words of Ebenezer Scrooge, we will honor Christmas in our hearts and try to keep it all the year. We will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within us. We will not shut out the lessons that they teach. And as we close our service, David will extinguish our chalice. But remember that we do not extinguish the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. And I think you should all join me in saying, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. One more time. God bless us, everyone. Thank you.